On.
Live
stream. There we go.
Wow.
Okay.
Hello.
Thank you, computer.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is it gives you that nice loud announcement. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very special episode of Paranormal Encyclopedia. As you can see, we have quite a few guests tonight. And we'll be with you in a second. I'm just posting the links. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Let's mute that so it doesn't play back. There we go.
This is normally the part where I would dance.
His specific assigned job at this point is to hold up a pair of set of keys and jangle them for everyone's amusement.
With a pen this time.
I'm currently docking Brian his imaginary pay for not doing so.
I think I'm on with you guys.
You are.
Okay.
Hey, there he is.
Hello.
Fine.
Good.
Wearing a crucifix to try to ward us off.
Yes.
What's up with
I
that?
have that effect on people sometimes when they hear what I do.
How's everybody doing? Thanks for
I'm
inviting me on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Can you guys see me okay, or is it too dark?
It's a little dark.
Although we
Okay.
kind of prefer it that way.
Yeah, we kind of like it that way. So
It sort of fits the character, certainly. And almost done. I just got to do the shares, and then we can
There
get
we go.
started with introductions.
yeah,
It's
is
more
that
than
priest,
your face
more
covering it.
priest-like for me?
There you go. Yeah, there you go. It's weird. I can't. Can you guys all see yourselves? Because I can't see me.
I
You're at the
can see
bottom.
myself. And
I'm on a laptop.
everybody
So
else.
I get more of the viewing area than you do.
Yeah.
Okay, share the page. Paranormal Encyclopedia. Come on. Wait for Facebook to catch up. There we go. Share.
Hi, Ron.
One more share and we're good. We're all set.
Hey, Pat, Tom.
How's everybody?
How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Oh, it couldn't be better. Chris, I have a whole week off. Let's start the next film.
Let's do it. Well, we filmed this one in what, 4 days?
Yeah.
Something
All
crazy
right.
like that. I've repressed it all.
Broken up, yeah.
Brian's done some writing if you want more source material.
Oh no! Ron,
I wasn't ready for that.
Okay, we're all set now, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome everybody to a very special episode of Paranormal Encyclopedia. Tonight, I am joined by a whole bunch of guests. We'll get to introducing everybody in a moment. There's a few things I want to say first. As always, I'm your host, Kevin Mears, demonologist and the Paranormal Encyclopedia. I wanted to let everybody know that the window that got broken a while back has been completely repaired now. We'll get some pictures up to show you all soon. Unfortunately, if anyone hasn't seen, I broke my leg on a patch of ice, which is why you haven't seen much of me lately on here. I also want to say, well, I am currently doing very well financially. Mr. and Mrs. Jarheads, who are members of the Watchdog community that I'm an honorary member of, unfortunately, Mrs. Jarhead just had a severe stroke. They're looking for help with the medical bills. There is a link in the description if you can help to their GoFundMe. If you can help them, please do. I'm doing great right now. You guys really helped me out. But this is, a stroke's a stroke. It's a pretty serious deal if anybody can do anything to help them. But on that less than cheerful note, let's introduce everybody. Who wants to go first? Patrick, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Patrick Thomas. I am an author, and in this case, the author of the Soul for Hire stories, which Act of Contrition is one, and is the basis for the short film that we're here shamelessly promoting.
You got to promote yourself. If you don't, nobody else will. I have the time. Who'd like to go next?
There it is. My name's Tom Karwacki. I'm a videographer, friend of Patrick's, and I was the director of the film, along with my other half here, Chris.
I'm his work wife.
Okay, Chris, do you have anything you want to add about other than that you're his work wife?
I'm his work wife. I'm also a filmmaker. I am working on a documentary. I've been working on a documentary for about 10 years now about higher
Oh, wow.
education. It's the film that will never end. But anyway, I end up doing fun stuff with Tom. So that's kind of my reprieve from the more serious filmy stuff.
Very cool. And that would leave our 2 stars.
Frank, you want to go first?
I am Frank,
Go ahead.
sometimes actor. I was first of all, thank you for inviting me on the show. And thank you to all the fans who are watching. It's really appreciated. I had a blast. I can't believe that they picked me to be Argus. I'm very honored. Thanks to Chris and Thomas and Patrick for saying yes. But that's it. Frankie,
Fair enough.
I'm Ron Rogel. I play the priest whose past comes back to haunt him, I guess you could say. It's great to be on the show. It's great to see Frank, Tom, Chris, Patrick, because we haven't seen each other since we filmed this, I think. So to see your faces.
We don't all live nearby.
I'll call you. And I'm just also very happy that Chris decided to wear pants for this.
Pants apparently are important today. I don't know
I'm
why.
not wearing any. So.
We can't tell, we don't know.
Hey, as long as from the waist up, everything's kosher, I don't judge.
No judgment.
I've got my bionic leg attachment personally. So what drew you guys to doing active contrition?
I was asked.
That was the conversation that went on over actually several years, because I remember at one point when Patrick and I were just having a conversation, and he kind of casually mentioned that he'd love to do a film on one of his things. I was like, well, which one would you do? And he said probably Active Contrition, because it would be one of his easier stories to do. Doesn't have a lot of special effects necessary for it.
True.
Down the road, it kind of got to the point that Chris and I were kicking around the ideas doing another short film. And I said, well, I know a guy and he's got a good story if you want to take a look at it.
So then I read the short story and I said, yeah, this seems doable. And then, of course, I say, hey, I know a guy who'd be like perfect for it. And then he goes, well, that's great because I know a guy also. And that's how it sort of transpired.
You want to be on TV too?
Oh wait, is something going wrong? It sounded like something was going wrong.
We got 2
Two Patricks. All right. Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
my computer was, everyone was kind of cyborging out, so I figured I'll have to switch over to my phone.
Gotcha.
No, I just find it funny. My fiance, who's listening in chat, who's also like me, a fan of Patrick's work, is also a filmmaker. She's been wanting to do one of Patrick's stories. Her problem is her brain won't let her do small.
You know that feeling.
I'm open to ideas. I had a film student ages ago approach me about being able to do Fool's Day as her film project. Apparently, film school in Chicago is very expensive, and she didn't manage to complete it. But I was thrilled. I said, sure, she could absolutely do it. I guess with special effects, she knew some people, and Coyote and Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, were going to appear as themselves and then morph into human actors for the rest of the movie to save on the budget.
Having read many of your stuff, Fool's Day is a pretty ambitious choice, especially for a film student. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll take the one that half of it takes place in Fairy with all the shapeshifters.
Plus a military base, all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, there
1,000 songs running around.
and riding on a nuclear missile.
Wow.
That would have been the fun. I guess you could have done it with a green screen.
They did it.
It's an old post.
They did it in what is it? Doctor Strangelove. There must be a way. So, Frank, what interested you about playing Argus in particular?
The character itself.
Yes.
I mean, he's pretty much, to me, I always look at it as, I wouldn't say a superhero, but a Comic-Con type person. And I'm pretty big into Comic-Con, so.
Oh, very nice.
I was very elated to play a part like that.
I can see that he has that, and he's not quite a superhero, but he has that dark, anti-hero-esque.
Yeah, kind of mystery type. He's not out there, in public promoting himself. That's for sure.
No, but I can almost see him like sitting at a bar having a beer with Punisher.
That's actually how the next movie's going to start. No, but the outfit, everything, and I actually have the new Argus jacket for 2021. Chris, I'm ready.
We just have to survive the end of the last days of 2020.
Yeah. I heard Argus isn't going to get a shot.
And I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names.
Ron.
Yeah.
Ron. Yeah, Ron.
The good father.
The guy, our good father.
Yeah. not so good father, actually.
Hence, good father.
Yeah.
Did you have any qualms about playing that kind of priest?
No, not at all. Because well, first of all, I've known Tom for a long time. He sent me the script, asked me to check it out and hopefully be in it. Because what am I, like 4 hours away from you? I think.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Yeah. So he's like, we can shoot this in 2 weekends if you want. I'm like, yeah, it works for me. And I read the script. I actually really, really liked it a lot. I no problem playing. I am probably the least religious person so playing a priest of what he does. They always say, find a challenging role. So something that's not you. That's not me. So
I would hope, particularly given the good part. I would hope not.
Right. But no. So I had no qualms whatsoever. It was just I was so happy to work with Tom, and then got to meet Chris and Patrick, and working with Frank was awesome. We had such a great time together, working very well off each other.
Yes, ditto.
Good chemistry on set.
Ron made it very easy.
Thank you.
No, I have to tip my hat to you both. Having read the story and seen the movie at this point, you both handled the parts very well, in my opinion.
Thank you. Can I tell you a little behind the scenes what happened?
Please do.
I usually read a script and study the script, but since I've been driving for so long, I had it transferred to a script reader to where I just listened to it in my headphones over and over for hours and hours. I didn't realize until I started saying my lines that Ron looked at me and was like, "You're out of order. What you're saying is that the script that I sent it to mixed up my lines with the whole story. So all my lines were off." You remember that? Because you looked at me a couple times like, "What are you saying?"
Yeah. Well, because
I'm like, "Look, it's on my script reader." It said,
right. And I remember, I think I downloaded. You told me about that script reader. And I was like, "Oh, that's a great idea." And I put it in. I'm like, "Wait, this is not right."
Yeah. So for all them hours, I listened to the wrong. Like after Ron would say his line, I would say a line, and he'd give me a look like, "I don't think you're supposed to." So during lunch, I had to go back and reread the script in order.
I was reading on the camera. Going, what did he just say? What happened?
Yeah, we're like flipping through. We're like, where the fuck is this?
No, that's rough.
And that was the other great thing about, first of all, it only being the two of us is like, Frank and I would be like, "Hey, you want to go over lines? You want to go over lines?" And at no time was it like, "Oh, again? No, never." It was always like, "Let's do it. We got to get this done." So it was very easy to just sit down and just, if we had a break, be like, "Hey, let's run those lines again," on the scene that we're coming up on. Yeah. So it was great. So it made it a lot easier,
Now, my fiance commented, there's a somewhat famous story about Mark Hamill that when he was playing the Joker in the animated series, he would practice the laugh in traffic. You have to wonder about people sitting in the other car going, wait, what?
Well, fortunately, they can't see me when I'm redoing my lines, saying them after it says it on the headphones. I'm pretty high up there.
But also back then, before cell phones, yeah, it was crazy. But now everybody's talking while they're driving, so it's pretty much normal now.
Yeah,
The greatest thing for people who hear voices and talk to them. I was in New York City and I was watching somebody who 10, 20 years before would have been looked at as crazy. She kept shouting to herself and then she'd like flip over in her phone and, just pretend. But the phone never rang. She'd start screaming sometimes before she put it to her ear. But, if you weren't sitting there and you were just walking by, you wouldn't notice.
That's actually a good idea, Patrick. I might try that.
There you go.
For that matter,
Blurt it out and then hurry up, put a phone to my ear.
with Bluetooth and things like that, even if they don't have a phone to their ear, you might just, if you're not looking at both of their ears, might just think they have a Bluetooth in.
Right.
If they're sitting in a car, they might have the hands-free option
Speaker,
on.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a comment. I've been, partly because of the video game and partly because I'm a fan of it in general, I've been getting big into the cyberpunk genre. And there's a comment in one of the books for the game Shadowrun that, a few years ago, people who talked to themselves and just gestured were thought of as crazy, but now it's everybody does it, and that's so true today. 10, 20 years ago, things that are normal to us would have been gotten locked away in a psych hospital.
Yeah.
Chris didn't need that excuse, did you, Chris?
Nope.
Yeah. 9-10.
I think everybody talks to themselves, whether they admit it or not.
It's fine.
That's the only way to have an intelligent conversation.
Sometimes you just need an expert opinion. So
Exactly. And as Brian said, sometimes it's the only way you get an intelligent conversation.
Right.
Oh, good Lord. Let's see. My fiance did actually have a question, though. Did you guys build any of the sets, or are those like filmed on location?
There's a little of both there. The intro stuff was shot around a town, Chrysalis, New Jersey, and then the first segment, the Night in the Alley, is shot. It's a location where we had a brick wall, and we also built a brick wall to make the corners of the alley.
So we had one brick wall.
Yeah, we had one brick wall.
This big.
And then the second location in the priest hall there, that was built in my garage. I built a modular setup in the garage that we could get both of them into and still be able to move the camera around. And it was November and not warm, if I remember right.
Yeah, you are correct.
Out for that.
Yeah, that was cold. Actually, there's a great blooper from that. I remember when we went to go slide the partition, and it just went flying, crashing down.
We made the sliding screen for him to open up to talk to Argus. I forgot to put a stop on it.
And it just launched across the garage.
Had to stop for repairs.
Having done a little bit of independent filmmaking myself a long, long time ago, I know that feeling. It's just the goofiest things happen.
Yeah.
Chris, will there ever be a blooper reel? Or Thomas?
Yeah, we put it on Roku.
Did you really?
It's all the rage.
No, I was just going to say I don't have the original footage, but I do think I do have all the original footage still. They usually don't keep once we master it and send it out.
Because me and Ron changed the bullet into something else.
That's right. Forgot about that. No, I remember that.
What did you change the bullet into? I'm almost afraid to ask.
No. When you see the blooper reel when it comes out, we'll tell you. Well, you'll see it.
Broke a couple props that night.
Because it ended up being a commercial.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it wasn't anything dirty or anything.
No. And Ron just went right with it, like we rehearsed it. It just came off perfect.
And I will say, I learned the one way to tick off a director apparently is just say, you can fix it in post.
Oh,
That's how you get stabbed.
Yeah, Patrick said, "Can't we just fix that afterwards and cut to Tommy flying out the second story window?"
but you want to hear about pressure? I think it was the second filming, the second night. I'm under pressure to be Vince Argus, the character, and who was there the next night was Patrick. While we were doing the scenes, and it made it like my lines. I had my lines. But I could glance over to the left and I could see Patrick sitting there looking. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to say my line.
Silently judging you.
I was like, oh my God, the guy who wrote the story is actually sitting 10 feet away from me. But I hope everybody saw that Patrick did make an appearance at the end of the movie in the film.
Yes, I enjoyed that. I have to ask. I know in the original story he isn't, but for the sake of any future movie canon, are we going to just say that Patrick, your cameo was as Murphy?
Probably not, because the first time, August's first appearance, he dies. It was in an issue of Fantastic Stories. So his first appearance is his death. So everything else is written as a prequel. So Murphy meets him for the first time there, so that just wouldn't work, unfortunately.
It sort of does. I mean, just random guy throws him a thing on the street and walks by. Although I get the point.
In the story, it was a kid, so I had to,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But I wanted to get Patrick into the movie to do a little cameo, and I didn't want to have a kid on set, so it worked out.
No, I think
father around.
Good point.
Oh God. No, I think the cameo was spot on. And I had known from your post, Patrick, that you were in there. So I'm sitting there watching it the first time. So it's like, where's he going to show up? Especially because it's such a it's a two-person story. But then you put it, the insert in the end made perfect sense.
Yeah.
Granted, I had forgotten it was a kid in the story, which is why I had that. Wait, that could be Murphy thought.
Yeah, no, it's a nice idea, but like I said, if we're going canon-wise, he doesn't meet him before the night he dies. So
True enough.
And films do somewhat go off the story a little bit. So
it's true.
So it doesn't close the door on that possibility, but at the moment, no.
So the MLU. There we go.
Murphy's Law Cinematic Universe.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Because the MLU would be the stories.
That works.
So what was your original inspiration for the story, Patrick?
I grew up Catholic, still Catholic. My sister's a nun. I was an altar boy for a long time, and it came out when I was a senior in high school that several of my peers had been suffering from what we mentioned in the story, only it was the choir master, not a priest, although the pastor did cover it up. They had this guy living in the Catholic school. He had a little apartment. He was a music teacher for the school. He was a choir master for the choir, which apparently was like nationwide famous. They were on TV, and
oh wow,
it was really bad. And I guess it kind of always stuck with me that they're but for the grace of God kind of thing. And nobody got punished for it. The guy didn't go to jail. The priest, they said, oh, he's never going to be a pastor again. Year and a half later, 45 minutes away, he's a pastor. Bishops promise. I'm like, they should not get away with this. This is wrong. And so Argus, I have a little fun with because Argus is a little darker than the rest of the Murphy's Law universe. He's a good guy doing bad things. And it was kind of felt good, kind of evening the score, in a little way. Like I said, people like that I think they horrify all of us, and it's not right. And like I said, the guy always creeped me out. I always wondered where he and the other altar boys disappeared to. And then I found out later that he had an apartment in the school. So,
Oh God.
Yeah, so they really set him up. So
Now, I had a similar experience that when I was a kid, I was raised Catholic. I'm still Christian. I'm not really Catholic anymore. And this would be among the reasons, what's happened is among the reasons why. But it turned out that a priest that I had known not super well, but I knew him, interacted with him, generally had positive experiences. It came out a few years back that he was also accused. Not in the time that I knew him. He had been a priest at a school in Philadelphia. And it came out that back then, when he was at the school, that he may have done it. But it was still just like, oh God. Especially, I remembered him vaguely as just a nice guy who always made a joke about my last name. And my brother, because he went to CCD and he went to the same church when he was younger, had a very different memory of him as being very creepy.
Yeah, it's a stain, that is going to take lifetimes to remove, and but like I said, a lot of times as the author of a story, you can set something right that you have no power over in real life, and I think since I tend to do that a lot in that universe, I think that's one of the reasons people may like it, because the right thing eventually happens. People still die, bad stuff still happens, but the scales are balanced a little bit.
For those who may not have seen the movie yet or read the stories, do you want to give, since it's not much of a spoiler, do you want to give a quick explanation of where Argus got his particular set of skills?
Sure, and I think it's briefly alluded to in the movie.
Yes.
Argus was the son of a mob boss, and his family was shot down in front of him. He was bleeding to death, and the devil came to him and made him an offer he couldn't refuse. In exchange for his soul, he'd be given 1 year of life for each member of his family who died, and to be given the ability to never miss with any weapon. And so that way he could avenge his family. And once he did that, he kind of went into business for himself, avenging other people who couldn't do it for themselves. And he, like most private eye hitmen who are really good guys, he works on a sliding scale. If a kid hires him, he'd do it for $1. One guy gets killed, the wife hires him, and he was in debt to a loan shark, so he just charged her the amount he was in debt for, which he knew she had a life insurance policy, which was many times up. He's like, no, So, but when he can, he milks people so that way he can do the charity cases.
I liked. Well, in general, there's some characters you've written that I took an instant liking to, like Dagonet. And there's some characters that they grew on me. And Argus is very much one that's grown on me through the short stories. To do some shameless promotion for you, there folks that are interested in this, aside from the movie, which you can find on Roku, and you can find in the link I put in the description, you can find the short story it's based on in the collection Soul for Hire's Greatest Hits. Do I have that right, Patrick?
Yep, and here it is. Might have a familiar face. Unfamiliar hair, but familiar face.
It's an excellent collection of short stories. I highly recommend it.
Yes.
I do too, but I may be a little biased.
I might be a little bit too, since you keep coming on my show almost every time I ask. So like, you gotta help my friends. But it's a good collection of stories. I think my audience will enjoy it, and it obviously has a connection to the show's topic, since he sold his soul to the devil, for God's sakes.
Or maybe not for God's sake.
As well as the movie put it perfectly, one removed.
Yeah. That line.
I loved that line. I'm sorry?
I said that line is actually in the film.
Yes, I know. And it was a brilliant line. It's like, oh, it's a perfect description of Satan.
Yeah, as much as possible, we stuck to precisely Patrick's wording with the script. And if you read it, you'll realize that we changed a few minor things just to make everything flow as a script. We put him in the alleyway instead of in the short where everything takes place in the confessional. But it's like, Pat, we really should have at least 2 settings to break it up some. So we made that minor modification. But anyway, basically what happened was I took his story, I wrote it out as a script form, and then I gave it back to Pat, and he said, well, no, this line's got to be this way, and this line's got to be this way, and that's how we formulated everything to make sure it stuck as closely as it could to his original short story and still worked in the short film format.
Yeah, Thomas was wonderful, extremely respectful of the original material, and adapted it to make it work while still keeping the spirit. So that made it, it's nicer than you hear some people complain that their original material was nothing like the final product. But in this case, it really worked out well from my point of view.
I'd agree. I mean, when I first read this, because I read the story before the movie came out, of course. And my first thought when I thought about, they're making it, because I had known that they were making a movie out of it, it's like, this would make a good movie, and it definitely has an advantage of it's just the 2 characters. But it needs a little more than just the 2 of them sitting in the confessional.
Exactly.
And I wondered how you were going to do that. I thought it's like, well, you could arguably have him visiting the other person who's mentioned who doesn't actually appear. But I think the way that you handled it was perfect. Because while obviously the scene in the alley isn't in the short story itself, it's very true to what's happening in the short story.
Yeah, a lot of the dialogue is transfers right over. It broke it up more visually and gave them a little more background to show the meeting and not just talk about it. Show don't tell.
The one thing, I've been in several films and several TV shows. Usually there's more actors to where the pressure isn't on you. However, it was just me and Ron. I mean, there was no break. It was like line, your line, my line, your line, my line. So it was a lot compared to some of the other things I did where I can only, worry about saying 2 or 3 lines, and then I'm good for another 20 minutes. This was just back and forth. So the pressure was on. But like I said, thank God I had Ron to bounce off of.
It's like doing a stage play almost.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, I've done a little bit of acting on stage and on film, and it's like, ye gods, having to remember everything and hit everything like that. I could see how it'd be a lot harder.
Well, actually, I think Thomas made it look like I was hitting everything, but I wasn't. Was like Thomas.
Like, all right, take 37.
Okay, Chris.
No, we tried to shoot it instead of breaking it up constantly on them unnaturally. We tried to let them roll with it as long as they could. And when they needed the break, it's like, okay, we'll pick it up from this point, so that it did kind of have that 2-person play feel to it while we were shooting it. I think it just helped the performance be more natural. And then we would do, then okay, we're gonna go as long as we can with this, and then we'll do the turnarounds and do the close-ups and all that to do the inserts. But we definitely shot a good majority of it. Just, okay, I'm going to set you up in a 2-shot, and you guys tell me when you're done. See how far we get in the script.
There was one line that when I said it, I think it's for everybody. Like there was silence after. There's a part in the movie where I actually yell at the father.
Yeah.
And like everybody was like, no, keep it. Nobody stop.
And you slammed the still in the confessional between you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't that screen fall down again?
And the whole set
And
just came crashing down.
It's such a powerful scene just because, one, throughout the movie, and two, anyone like myself who knows the stories, Argus is normally the classic cool, cold-blooded hitman,
Yes.
very buttoned up, very controlled, and to see him lose control like that in such a logical place. I mean, it's not like, wait, why? No, in the context of the story, it makes perfect sense, but it's still jarring. And it's still like, wait.
I think because there was a child involved, and this guy was really getting on me. Like, just shut up and take what's about to happen.
No, I agree. And knowing other stories featuring Argus, particularly the one story where he rescues the mob boss's daughter. And it's like, he's not fond of people who go after kids.
I want to shoot that one. Do that story.
Although we did talk about it, just would be very hard to do the one with the loan shark zombie, because the guy it's kind of Argus is in a Wile E. Coyote cartoon, and the other guy's the Roadrunner. And that one would be a lot of fun, but it would be a little harder to do. A lot more special effects.
A little more.
I'd definitely line up to pay to see that one. But yeah, it's like...
Well, hey, if you want to pay to see that one...
I don't have that much. I don't have the money to fund the movie, unfortunately. I'm not your... I forget who it was, but the one member of the Beatles was such a big fan of the Monty Python, they paid for them to do Life of Brian. I'm not that guy for you, unfortunately.
George Harrison.
Yeah.
Yes. And hi, Roy Martson, who just joined us in chat.
Roy!
So you guys know him.
Roy did the cover for the book. And
nice.
Yeah, when I saw that cover, I couldn't believe it. I was in my car when I saw it, and I just pulled over. I was like, I cannot believe the way he made that cover look. Amazing, amazing work.
Because actually, that book is the second appearance of the story. So, but it worked out good that we were able to use Frank on the cover.
Yeah, nice cross promotion.
I think the first human person on any of your book covers, right? The real person?
Yeah. First real person.
There you go, real person.
I was going to say, there definitely been human characters on your books before, but no photographs like that. It was a nice, so it was an interesting change. Although I still have to say, I much like the character, the hairstyle has grown on me. But for such a controlled character to have that mop of hair.
Well,
yeah, the wig threw me at first because that's not how I envisioned him.
Yeah, that was,
made it work.
Yeah, we had a set up to do some extensions on Frank to make it straight black hair.
And it was a hot mess.
It just wasn't working. And sometimes you have to just make adjustments. And we said, somebody run and get a wig. And somebody ran and got a wig. And they're like, it's the only one we could get in short notice. And we're like, we'll put in a ponytail and make it work. They called Patrick. And I'm like, yeah, so he's a little baby.
It's like we got good news and we got bad news.
We finished the first day of filming.
Yeah,
I don't know if I like that. I'm like, well, we already shot a day. So.
Not sure if I like that. It's too late to fix it.
Yeah. That was literally a warning of the shoot. Run out and get one because I have to make adjustments sometimes.
Yeah, because we fought with those extensions for like an hour, and I'm just like, nope, that's it, we're done. Like, go out, find something now.
I think in the next film he gets a haircut.
No, I think you got to keep it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
At least it wasn't one of those pixie wigs. That would have been awesome.
A totally straight wig and have somebody go, you changed your hair.
Well, I'll tell you what, the next Halloween party I go to dressed as Argus, I'll look just like him.
Yeah, can't argue that. Hey, Patrick, I wanted to let you know somebody else decided to say hello in the chat who's a friend of both of ours. John French is listening in.
Hi, Roy, and hi, John. Thanks, guys, for joining.
Yeah, and John apparently is enjoying the show, which is always good. I appreciate it when people enjoy us.
And
You know,
edited the book. There we go.
For those of you who don't know, John French is another good friend of the show who's written a lot of great stories, both with Patrick and on his own.
Bianca Jones is probably his best known character. She's got 4, 5, 6. He's working on the newest book, which will wrap up her storyline, and it's going to be really something. I think the fans will really enjoy it.
Oh wow.
The whole wrapping up her storyline kind of disappoints me, but I bet I'll enjoy it.
There's always prequels.
True.
Every time I talk to you guys, my Kindle list gets longer.
I know this is the great and challenging thing about doing a show like this. It's like there's always I've already got a list of books to wrap around the moon and back a few times, and I just keep adding more to it because I talk to all of these wonderful authors.
And as long as we're plugging people, Roy Morrison does Shards of the Glass Slippers, and I think he has a short story for that. It's on sale for like 99 cents. Matter of fact, I think the first Bianca and the first Shards may still be 99 cents, and the first Murphy's Law is 99 cents. So please, pull up those Kindles.
Yeah, not that I not that I mind paying more for them. It's definitely been very nice. How many of your books and John's books have been very reasonably priced lately? I've lost a couple of my physical copies of things in moving around, so it's like I'll take a digital one of this and of this and of this and of this.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that. It's very kind of someone to buy more than one copy of a book.
I'll make it sweeter for you, Patrick. Whoever buys the most books from you, they get the Argus jacket that I still have.
Well, I think Tom heard this story. I was at a convention once, and a guy came up to me who had a bunch of my books and said, "I'm such a big fan of yours." I'm like, "Thank you." No. He's like, "You don't understand. I'm a really big fan of yours." I'm like, "Thank you." He's like, No. I'm going to show it to you. And he bought one of every book on my table. He bought 60 books.
Wow.
I carried them out to his car.
Wow.
Yes, you did.
Guy buys 60 of your books, you carry them for him. Yeah.
I will. Heck, at 60, I probably, if he was local to the con, I probably would deliver them. And actually, someone was teasing me on the way out, like, "What, you're carrying books now?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Well, Patrick, next convention you have, I'll send you the jacket and you can have it with you.
Wait, I thought it was going to the person who bought the most of his books, and I think I'm in the running. I may be in second place to Mr. 60 Books, but I've got to be in the running for that.
Because like I said, Argus has a new jacket. Wait till you see it. If you go on my Facebook page, you'll see it.
I'm going to have to look at that.
You saw it, right, Patrick?
I did.
Do you approve?
It's red in parts. I like the style.
Yeah. Well,
So-
actually, life, it's not that red. It's like a. I can actually show it to you.
Okay,
Yeah,
there we go.
Bring it out. Show it to us.
You have the wig?
I have the wig, strangely enough, still in my
Okay,
closet.
so you put on the wig and he'll put on the jacket.
I'm not putting on the wig.
That's all right. I have the gun on the coffee table right here.
Oh, there we go.
I got nothing.
I'm a little disappointed. It's like if he had the wig and the jacket and the gun, we could have had Argus as a guest.
There we go.
Not really that red.
Got your crew shirt, Ron.
Ron, do not show that picture. Whatever.
Okay, I
Show
want
it.
to see this picture now.
Show it.
Here's the picture.
That's an inside.
Show it.
Well, actually, here, we'll
Ron.
go to Frank's Facebook page and search. It's there somewhere.
Everywhere.
That was definitely from the After Hours collection there.
If you show that picture, that'll ruin everybody's thought about me and being Argus.
That picture will not be
This
shown
is
on
a
this
promo
show.
from his Cinemax film.
Wait, is this like an Argus after dark?
No, it wasn't. It was one of his acting. What do you call them? Headshots.
Headshot.
But it was more than a headshot.
But Argus was much younger and worked out.
And pale.
And apparently needed the money.
Hey, we've all had those moments in our lives. We're not proud of them. We don't talk about that, but it happens. Even hitmen.
Everybody starts from somewhere, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
So what do you guys have in the pipe, as it were? Do you have any new projects coming up? Any thoughts for another Argus movie?
Or anything that can star both me and Frank.
Yeah, you'll wear the wig this time.
All right.
Another one. I would like to keep the series going, one film a year.
I'd be fine with that. But my job is easy.
Yeah.
He
Actually,
reaches to a shelf of 60 books and goes, "Which one you want?"
there's plenty of stories to choose from, and now I work for a media company, so we can have a lot of help with this.
It's like,
Yeah, but-
I know authors, Brian, John.
Actually-
I haven't written anything, but trust me, 20 years of demon hunting, I have a couple stories that might make interesting movies.
Hey, I'm here.
There is a Argus story where he's trying to kill. He's hired to kill something, but he realized the person is possessed by a demon, so he wants to kill the demon and not the person. So it's a interesting story about how he goes about doing that.
That one's a really interesting story.
That would be another 3-person. That would be a 3-person.
Yeah, but if it's an Argus continuation, I can't be in it.
We can give you some prosthetics, Ron.
There you go. That'll work.
There's always a way.
Like Clark Kent.
Yeah, right. I just wear glasses. Nobody will be able to tell.
I believe the character is a woman, so you could probably get a little bit more.
That picture I want, and that one I will post.
Well, I just have to wear the Argus wig.
There you go.
See how we all get along?
This is why
we're writing your next movie for you right now.
And actually, since you asked about other things, I don't want to speak out of turn, but there is another script that at least one scene was filmed with a senator, or that's still in the pipeline not to talk about.
It's done filming. It's been done filming for too long. I've got it.
We're trying to fix it in post.
I've got the principal scenes cut. The green screen scenes, I have had 5 different people say they're going to do it, and then they all bail.
Oh, jeez.
I am a good enough editor. I'm not an After Effects person, so it's kind of just sitting like 3/4 done.
Thomas,
That will eventually get done.
I can help you out with that, Thomas.
That's what she said.
Hey now.
Can you talk about that movie at all, or is that not to be talked
I
about
think
yet?
Tom could talk about it.
Yeah, well, no, it's
except for that one lousy senator you got there.
I know it's a bad
Not
politician.
you,
Oh, okay.
the other senator.
No, it's a short film called The Vote. Frank is in it. Chris is in it, and the idea was, it's going to shock it. It's an apocalyptic setting where the world is coming to the end through disease, and between
before this year the script was written.
Yeah, we shot that 2 years ago.
Yeah, the idea was that they're between different events, apocalyptic events, that 90% of the world's food crops had failed, and there's about
lovely.
and essentially the powers that be were trying to figure out how to address it, and there was going to be a UN vote on between the secret plan that they come up with, and what you're seeing is people in the senator's office monitoring the vote. It's a little set up in the future, and let's just say the plan, and it's going to shock people. The plan is for them to cover their own butts and leave most of the world to swing. But
I'm shocked.
how they do it's a little rough.
Well, I mean, it was funny because when we came up with the script or whatever, we're looking at it, we're like, no one's going to believe this shit. And then, COVID hits. We're just like, oh, people are believing this shit.
But I'm like, oh,
It's
good.
dark enough.
Don't challenge the universe that way.
Yes.
You said nobody would believe this shit. The universe had to prove to you were wrong.
Yes. Universe.
And the vote is could be part of a series of interrelated stories in that apocalyptic world.
Yeah, the vote would be the starting, but my idea was to shoot a 15 to 20 minute short and then shoot follow-up shorts with different people to the point where you could put them together as a cohesive story and actually turn it into a feature if you wanted to.
Yeah, because I believe it was the second one with the Coyote Runners. That's where we were going to try to bring Ron back in.
That's where I want to end up with Ron eventually. That's people trying to leave the U.S. to Mexico to get away from what the United States government is doing.
Oh, jeez.
Coyotes on the border, and they have to pay them off somehow. And how they pay them off relates to how the vote ends. So that was it goes pretty downhill quick in this setting.
You're in like the perfect time period for apocalyptic stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, Stephen King's got the Stand new series going.
Right.
I just recently had a new take on an apocalyptic story I've been thinking about writing occurred to me. Just I don't know, for some reason the end of the world is in the air. I can't imagine why.
COVID's in the air.
It's the end of the world as we know it. Fortunately, we're just coming up on the end of our hour. Not quite, but we're just about the 10-minute mark, it looks like. I would love to keep going, but I think with my ankle, it will probably be better to call it at 9. I'm sorry to say.
No problem. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
No, it's been a blast, as I expected it would. Do any of you have anything you'd like to add? Any thoughts or memories of the shoot you want to mention?
We'll go in order as they see on the screen. I think, Chris, you're first.
What? I'm first. How am I first? What did I do?
Chris remembers craft services. I'll jump out there and say it was a lot of fun. It was getting to work with Patrick, who I met first as an author and then became a second, was a dream come true to be able to work on one of his stories. And I don't have quite all 60, Patrick, I'm sorry to say, but I've got a pretty good shelf of your stuff going.
Jackie,
Thank you. Some of those were anthologies.
And getting this group together, it went together smoothly. Everybody really brought their A game and made it as easy and fun as possible.
I appreciated it from my point of view because I got to work on the script. Thomas did the bulk of it. I got to chip in.
Polish phase for sure.
There you go. And they were all nice. Apparently, it's a thing. I got a signed script from everybody at the end of it, which was kind of nice too. Apparently, that's a tradition of some sort. So that's actually up on my shelf. So next to some comic book pages and a Bust of Cthulhu.
Cthulhu, I never would have guessed.
Yeah.
I've made a lot of money off him, so gotta show some respect.
Indeed.
Because of him, I get to be on the radio every month.
Yep. Good advice for bad people.
Exactly. So, and it was really neat to watch, my characters come to life, and it was very cool.
Oh, why don't you plug your radio show?
It's Destiny's the Voice of Science Fiction with Dr. Howard Margolin. It is on Friday nights on WUSB, which is NPR station out of Long Island at 11:30. And it is on their website the following week as a podcast. So once a month, Dear Cthulhu dispenses his advice to the masses over the airwaves.
And together they stream it live too.
Yeah, and they stream it live, so you can listen on the website.
I haven't had the chance to listen to the radio show, but knowing the Dear Cthulhu books, it's something else I would recommend. Anybody else have anything they'd like to add?
It was just an amazing experience working with everybody. They made it so easy and such a pleasure to come down to the set on the weekends. It wasn't like I was, dredging the 4-hour drive. I was actually looking forward to it, and everybody was so welcoming and just so easy to work with. It was great. It was such a great experience, except for that time when we were shooting outside, and I think it was the people across the street kept on like having a party or something in the radio. You remember that? Like the DJ music was going.
That still hasn't stopped. It happens every weekend.
Oh wow!
Hold for car, hold for Mamba.
Well, I would like to thank you so much for having us on your show. And for everybody that's watching, thank you so much. I hope you all become fans of Patrick's books and his stories and the films that we make of his stories. It was a pleasure, actually a really great time making the film. Like I said, I only had one hiccup, and that was having my script scrambled and trying to learn it during lunch. Other than that, Patrick, it's been an honor. Thank you so much.
Frank,
Thank you very much. You did a great job.
Thank you, sir. Ron,
Is it? Yes, sir.
you're the best.
Nah, you're the best. But is it me? Is it just me, or does Frank look like a evil villain from James Bond with the cat on his head?
Yes, he does.
Tom, you know you want to say it.
he looks a little more like Ramos right now, sitting there.
It's like, before I kill you, Mr. Thomas, there's just one thing I have to know.
Frank, give him the Roku plug real quick.
Yes, please.
Okay, yes, the film is on Roku under the Cohancy Group channel. You can also try the Cohancy Media channel. It's on there, and
why don't you spell Cohancy? So
it's COHANSEY.
One
Look
moment.
at you, got it on the first shot.
Hey, see, she knows me. I've done quite a few films with Chris. She knows me very well.
We go way back.
And then if anybody's looking, I just put the name of the channel in the description as well.
And if anybody wants to become friends with me on Facebook, it's Frank Thon, but please message first, because I do not add people that I don't know on my Facebook. So if you message me and say that you're a fan of Patrick's work or Argus, I will add you. But if you randomly do it, I won't add you, because I don't want to get hacked again.
And then you'll be
That's
subjected
fair.
to prank pictures from the rest of us.
Oh, I just that with you on there, Chris. Oh boy.
You guys will be getting friend requests from me. I like to keep track of my past guests.
Okay.
And www.patthomas.net, and you can find the stuff for Facebook and Twitter on there.
You have any books coming up, Patrick, you want to plug?
No release dates, but I do have something I'm really proud of. It's got a cover by Daniel Horn. It is called Bikini Jones versus the Brain Nappers from Outer Space. It is something a little different than what I've done before, but it's a lot of fun.
Autobiographical.
And I have some kids' books coming out. I read as Patrick T. Phibbs. Joy Reaper checks out. Is finished and done and ready to go. There we go. Undead Kid Diaries 2 and the Baby Bear Mysteries 2 are both done, waiting on artist. And for the Joy Reaper one, basically Death, the Grim Reaper, takes his daughter to work on Take Your Daughter to Work Day.
Oh, God, that sounds brilliant.
And Soggy Goes to the Beach came out a little bit ago, which is my first early reader, which features the characters from Five Silly Monsters jumping on the bed.
Very good. I think we're going to wrap it here because we're going to get kicked out in a minute because of the whole 1 hour limit. I want to thank all of you for being kind enough to join me. You've all done a spectacular job with the movie. You have something to be very proud of, in my opinion. Folks, again, if you haven't seen the movie yet, check it out. You can find the information about the Roku and a link in the description below. It's a relatively short, like 15-minute movie, so you definitely are going to have time to do it. But that is going to do it for tonight. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen in. We will hopefully be back next week. Who knows? I have a broken leg. That's why you see crutches in the back. Apparently, I took breaking a leg a little too seriously with the show. But Brian, you want to say a good night as well?
Keep your fangs sharp.
And this is Kevin Mears, the Paranormal Encyclopedia, saying, have a good night, a belated Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, joyous Kwanzaa, Merry Festivus for the rest of you. And as I always like to say, for the atheists in the audience, come on and convert already, because you know the religious people have all the best holidays. But Happy New Year's, everybody. I'll see you again soon, and have a great night. And we are off air.
All right.
Thank you again.